Is anybody here at a course class for the first time tonight? Anybody? All right, welcome, welcome. How'd you find your way here tonight?
My friend Nico actually brought me here.
Awesome, wonderful. Okay, so this is a Course in Miracles, and some of the ideas you may find quite startling and hard to believe. If indeed it seems like that, then you've probably heard what it said. Okay? So just understand that the Course in Miracles itself says you don't have to believe it, you don't have to welcome it, you don't have to, you can even resist it all you want. But that if you will apply it, if you will use it to something that you're experiencing tonight, then you'll see that it's true. So, and if you apply one of these ideas and it doesn't work and it doesn't seem like it's true, then maybe it's not your path and you just go on to what's next. Okay? So the purpose of all of my classes is that we use this. This is a practical curriculum. The purpose of this curriculum is that we have peace. And that's the goal of this curriculum. Peace of mind that lasts. Peace of mind that doesn't just, go away at the first conflict you have. Lasting peace of mind. Okay, that's the purpose of it. And so it's just a practical manual in how to take whatever you're experiencing and apply a loving, more higher truth to it, and that you may get the miracle of the peace or the resolution. That's the whole purpose of this book. It's just a manual, okay? So as we go through this tonight, make sure that as you hear these ideas, that you look for the instructions of how to apply these ideas. And so use them during the class. When I read something, apply it. Apply it to whatever conflict you're going through, that you've been going through today, or any conflict that has been longer term pattern conflict. Apply it, apply it, apply it. Use it. And if you'll do that, you can walk out of here with some kind of undreamed of resolution and things that maybe you thought couldn't have a resolution. Okay, so that's what this curriculum is for. Okay, so the meaning of the Last Judgment. Okay, so the meaning of the Last Judgment. So the Last Judgment, and he's referring to, in the Bible there's this concept of the Last Judgment, right? And in the Bible, and also in the Old Testament too, the Last Judgment. Oh, it's something that happens when you die, and then God passes a final judgment on you. God says, let's see if you've been good or bad or naughty or nice. Who does that sound like?
Santa.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? The God that we have heard about actually sounds quite like Santa. Okay, I'm sure it's just a coincidence. But that is this process that we've learned about. You die, and then you go before God, and then He passes judgment on you. Well, isn't that special? And so He's using that old concept, that old belief, to tell us about a process of healing and correction that actually is available for us now. That has nothing to do with God passing judgment on us or punishing us. Okay? It's actually a process that we use upon ourselves to heal and correct ourselves. All right, so the meaning of the Last Judgment. The Last Judgment is one of the greatest threat concepts in man's perception. So man's perception has a lot of threat concepts in it, wouldn't you say? And this is one of the greatest ones, that judgment. Then it says, and this is only because man does not understand the idea of the Last Judgment. See, judgment is not an essential attribute of God. Oh, really? Who knew? Judgment isn't an essential attribute of God? Wow. We always attributed judgment to God. And it says, where it came from was man brought judgment into being only because of the separation. Okay, the separation, that's our detour into fear, okay? We were in union bliss with all that is, and then we took a detour into fear and separateness. After the detour into fear, however, there was a place for judgment as one of the many learning devices which had to be built into the overall plan, okay? So yeah, judgment, nothing to do with God. Didn't come from God, doesn't have anything to do with God, has nothing to do with God. But when we fell, when we left paradise, metaphorically speaking, when we detoured into fear and separated from oneness, then we essentially made judgment. Okay, so that's where judgment came from. As soon as we split off, then judgment comes into the picture. And now, since we made judgment, and since we love judgment, now the whole idea of judgment has to be built in to the plan to rescue us from this separation. So now, okay, fine, now God's going to use judgment since you made it. Whatever you made, however twisted and distorted and mean it is, God has a way to use it. God will use it, including judgment, even though God had nothing to do with it. He wasn't the author of it. Okay? So we're going to learn tonight what is real judgment. What is God's use of judgment? Okay? All right. Then it says, just as the separation occurred over many millions of years, the last judgment will extend over a similarly long period and perhaps an even longer one. The length of the last judgment depends, however, on the effectiveness of the present speed up. Isn't that interesting? And that's in the unedited, but it's not in the edited version. Okay. So the last judgment apparently is a process. It is a process. So it's like this. When man detoured into fear and man separated from God, okay, that divorce took millions of years. That's how long it took us to divorce ourselves from unity, from the universe, okay? But then the last judgment, he's saying that's a process where we come back into oneness, where we come back into the reality of unity, okay? And that process, the last judgment, may take a similarly long period of time, and maybe even longer, depending on how effective the present speed up is. So, isn't that interesting to hear that there is a present speed up happening? Haven't you noticed? Doesn't it seem like sometimes there's a speed up? There's a speed up, right? He's like, yeah, there is a speed up happening. And he says how long this reunification process occurs depends on how effective this present speed up is. So I wonder what it is that makes this present speed up more fast, more what's the word, effective. Okay, now we're going to learn what makes this present speed up more effective. I know I would like to speed it up, this present speed up. I would like to shorten the amount of time that it takes me to come back to the awareness of unity, right? Which is heaven, which is peace. I would also like to hear about how to speed up how long it takes for the planet. So it's like, okay, what would it take for me to help the planet speed up the time and shorten the amount of time by which the planet comes back into the awareness of, oh yeah, we're one. Oh yeah, we're one with all life. Oh yeah, and we're one with the source of all life. Okay, so that's what's happening. That's the process that's happening. We're trying to shorten that time for ourselves personally till we come back to enlightenment, which is the awareness of unity of all. And we're also trying to help the planet do it before it blows itself up, or poisons itself, or any number of ways that we as a planet seem to be trying to commit suicide, right? Which only mirror how we're trying to commit suicide personally, but calling it somebody else doing it to us. Okay, so we're going to hear about the process by which we speed up. We speed it up, we save ourselves and our planet time. Okay, and this process, this speed up process, he's calling the last judgment. Okay, interesting. Then it says, we have frequently noted that the miracle is a device for shortening but not abolishing time. And so, if a sufficient number of people become truly miracle-minded quickly, I'm going to say that again, if a sufficient number of people become truly miracle-minded quickly, then guess what happens? The shortening process can be almost immeasurable. So how are we going to speed this process up before we blow ourselves up? Well, if a sufficient number of people become what? Become truly miracle-minded. Wow. So if enough of us become miracle-minded, then what? Then the shortening process can be almost immeasurable. Wow. That's some nice motivation, huh? To become truly miracle-minded. You know, makes you ask the question, okay, well, how do I become truly miracle-minded? Right? And how do I support others in becoming truly miracle-minded so that we can shorten this process up immeasurably? Right? So we can save ourselves and our planet some time. Right? Okay, that's interesting. If a sufficient number of us become truly miracle-minded, we can shorten that process immeasurably. We can shorten the amount of time it takes till what? Till we come back to the reality of unity and experience life, experience freedom, experience liberation, heaven, right? Okay. So then it says, it is essential, however, that these individuals, what individuals? The ones who are to become truly miracle-minded, it's essential that these individuals free themselves from fear sooner than what? Sooner than ordinarily would be the case. Why? Why is it essential that those who want to become miracle-minded, one-minded, unity-minded, why is it essential that they do what? That they free themselves from fear sooner than they ordinarily would have. Okay? Because they must emerge from the conflict if they're going to bring peace to other minds. Isn't that interesting? So he's talking about us. Okay? So he's saying something important about us. It's essential that we, the individuals who are trying to become unity-minded, miracle-minded, it's essential that we free ourselves sooner, than what? Oh, then we would ordinarily get around to it, right? We, being good egos that we have, would just take our sweet time becoming miracle-minded. We would. You know, we've set it up where we won't become miracle-minded until we're backed into a corner, right? Until we've hit the bottom, until we're in conflict and fear and pain, then we're like, oh, help, I want a better way, right? So, in other words, we'll take our sweet time getting around to the truth that sets us and our planet free. But he's saying, look, you don't have that time. You don't really have that time, y'all, says our teacher. The world doesn't have that time. And so I know that you probably would have taken a lot longer to wake up to the reality of the unity that saves the planet and yourself. I know you would have taken longer, but we really need you to speed it up. We really need you to do it sooner than you would have ordinarily done it. And the reason that we need you to do it sooner than you would have ordinarily done it is because you're going to have to free yourself from fear if you're going to help others to free them from fear. Isn't that interesting? Wow.
So then miracles are not under the laws of time, but they affect time.
That's right.
Both personally and universally.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
interesting how it's not part of that world, but it affects that world.
Exactly. And a miracle is a right thought that enables you to become miracle-minded. Okay? So it's saying that you're being asked to wake up sooner than you ordinarily would have taken your time, because you've got to emerge from the conflict. You've got to emerge from the conflict if you're going to bring peace to other minds. And that's how we save time. Yeah. You emerge from your own conflict, and then you help other people to emerge from their conflict, which means emerge from their fear. That's the process. That's the process that is underway on the planet, within each of us individually and as a planet. And this plan, which is called the Last Judgment, this plan, also the Course calls it the Atonement, this plan was given by God, and the plan is you emerge from your conflict quickly, and then you help other people to emerge from their conflict quickly, to save us some time. Why? So that we're not drawing out the suffering any more than we have to. I mean, how long have we been drawing out the suffering of mankind now? How long have we been drawing out the suffering of our own individual experience? We just draw, we love it. We just draw it out. Draw out the suffering. And he's saying, look, we need you to save some time. Save some time for yourself and save some time for the planet. And us agreeing to do this ourselves and agreeing to do it together, that is the atonement. That is God's plan for the healing of man. And that's how it goes. You emerge from your own conflict, you emerge from your own fear, and you help other people to do it. And the more you do that, and the more of us who do that, the quicker we get back to a healed planet and a healed mind. Wow. And a healed planet and a healed mind is just where it's at, because there's no conflict, there's no lack, there's no sickness, there's no competition, there's no death, there's no war. That's where it's at. We fight with each other and we are greedy with our resources because we have not emerged from our conflict and our fear to the realization that we're really all one. Which means if one of us goes without, we all do. And if all of us have, then one of us has, then the other has. We haven't come to that. We haven't woken up to that, right? We haven't woken up to the fact that we are one, which means whatever happens to one happens to all. And that's why we have war, and that's why we have disease, and that's why we have poverty, and that's why we have lack. So there's a plan underway. There's a plan underway, and this is the plan by which to speed up the time that we wake up individually and globally and save ourselves. And notice it's not necessarily something God does to us. It's something that we undertake with the help of Spirit. So that's what's going on. Did you know? Who knew? And apparently our part is so essential that our teacher is saying it's essential. It's essential. You've got to emerge from, what does he say? You've got to free yourselves from fear. You've got to free yourselves from fear. It's essential. It's crucial that you free yourselves from fear sooner than you ordinarily would have. It's essential, okay? So in other words, your healing, your release from fear is very, very, very important. It's essential. And we're such good codependent folks. If you tell me that the well-being of the planet depends on me, okay, I'll do it. I notice I won't do it for myself, right? But somebody else needs me to do it. Oh, the planet needs me to do it. Okay, I'll do what it takes to emerge from fear. All right, I'll do it for you, planet. See what a good codependent person I am? And apparently we're all like that, and that's why, our teacher is continually telling us it's essential that you emerge from your fear quickly, because the planet is depending on it. The whole is depending on it. Well, and it gives motivation to us. Oh, the planet needs me to. Okay, I will be more motivated to do what it takes to emerge from my fear. All right. Isn't that a great image? Emerge from your fear. And interesting, as if fear is something like a cocoon or something. And so it's not something that needs to be banished, it's just something that you emerge from. All right, any questions about that before we go on?
Well, that's part you gave me an image that I wouldn't have a clue about its validity, but it was the idea that the rest of the planet has done it, they're just waiting on me.
Yes.
I'm the last one that hasn't got out of my fear yet.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. I know, you know, we probably will emerge from our fears sooner than we ordinarily would have once we realize that it is the only hope for the planet.
You need a serious ultimatum.
Exactly. That's the way we work. You know, we haven't got to the point where we're just like, hey, I deserve to be happy. I deserve peace because I'm created by love. Let me just have it. We're not like that. We tend to only go for the healing when we're in hell. And he's saying, I just need you to speed it up a little bit. Don't wait till you're in hell. Don't wait till you're on the floor and snot's running out down your face. You know?
I want to say that in my experience of being on the course, it seems like I've gotten to release the fear. The opposite has happened. It's like the same thing that would normally piss me off a little years ago would piss me off to the point where I can't stand to deal with this anymore, so I have to do something.
Right.
So it seems like it accelerates the fear in you so that you realize that you're really not supposed to be having this.
That's right.
And maybe it's making you more sensitive to the fact that this is not your natural state, and now maybe you'll do something about it. So for me, I think it's a blessing too, because if before I had to burn my hand and now I just have to get 10 feet from the fire
Yep.
and say, oh, it's
Exactly.
too hot, then I'd rather that, because now I know to avoid it and get, save time.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. That was the right use of pain. You know, that is the right use of pain. Use pain correctly as a recognition that immediate correction is needed, and then you won't need the pain as much as you did before to learn. So yeah, that's the right use of pain. Absolutely. Thank you.
And also, isn't it like we all chosen to live in this time-space continuum, that this is like a process. I mean, you have different breakthroughs with whatever fear you're experiencing at that time, or you're bringing up something incredibly huge or something just minor, and after you bring up something huge, then something else huge lands in your lap, or something small lands in your lap, or you go through a period of time where you seem to be, in harmony. And I'm saying that it's kind of like a process. It's just not like you wake up, you have breakthroughs, but then there's always something at the next level that otherwise we would have no need
Exactly.
for
Then there's the next fear to emerge from.
correct.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. As opposed to like this is all one thing that we wake up and then we're fearless and then we're helping our brother. But it's really like, you wake up and you have this incredible energy to do something like that when that happens.
So just like the separation happened over millions of years, also that process of emerging from our fears it's a process. It takes a while, And what we're trying to do is speed up the time that we emerge. And the more we apply the ideas each time we're afraid, the faster it happens. So yeah, it's a process. Yes, you're saying?
Never mind, I kind of pretty much
Okay.
said what I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly, right. Just, it took a long time, we took a long time to put ourselves to sleep. We're not going to, according to this, wake up overnight,
It
right?
just scared me.
It would scare us, it would scare us, too much. It would terrify us. And so the process by which we wake back up from our long sleep usually takes a while. Now, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to take a long time. And, as a matter of fact, you can speed it up. Here's the way to speed up your awakening from living in fear predominantly to living in joy predominantly. This is the way to speed it up. And that's what the Course is all about, saving time, saving time, saving time. What time? The time you set yourself to suffer. The time you gave yourself to suffer. And the Course is about, hey, save yourself some time. You don't have to wait. Just because you fell asleep and put yourself to sleep don't mean you have to wait all that long to wake back up to peace. You can shorten that time immeasurably if you'll become miracle-minded. Isn't that a great phrase? I would like to become miracle-minded. I want to become miracle-minded. What is miracle-minded? It's where you know, you have an awareness that miracles are natural. The miracles are natural. And that with a loving thought, you can transcend the laws of space and time like that. And that you're under no laws but God's. That's being miracle-minded. Or miracle-minded is having the awareness that we really are one. We are one soul in a bunch of different bodies. One with the source of all life and the source of all creations. That's also being miracle-minded. And the more we become miracle-minded, let ourselves hear the truth about ourselves and our source, the faster we evolve from fear, living primitively in fear, and we evolve into and out of our fear and into ourselves as we were created by the Creator, which is pretty awesome, right? So we are trying to speed up our evolution, so it don't take so long,
It's also more comfortable. I suppose that's part of the miracle affecting time, but it seems as you wake up, the more you wake up, the less you fear it.
That's right.
It was terribly terrifying at first, but as time goes on and you do it a little more and a little more, pretty soon it doesn't seem all that frightening.
Exactly.
You start almost welcoming it.
That's right. Exactly. So at the beginning of the process, it seems more terrifying when you begin that journey, from living predominantly motivated by fear, primitively, and you go on the journey to evolve out of your fear. It seems terrifying at first. Okay. All right. So then it says, the last judgment is generally thought of as a procedure undertaken by God, as if God does it. But actually, this process will be undertaken by man with my help, says the teacher, the voice of the Course. The final judgment is a final healing rather than a meting out of punishment, however much man may think that punishment is deserved. Punishment is a concept in total opposition to right-mindedness, and the aim of the last judgment is to restore right-mindedness to man. Okay? So this process that we're talking about is not something God does. In the end, God doesn't judge you. This is a process that we undertake, we're guided by Spirit, and it has nothing to do with punishment. The last judgment has nothing to do with punishment. Okay? Healing has nothing to do with punishment. That is the opposite of right-mindedness, the opposite of miracle-mindedness. Anything that helps you to evolve and helps you to evolve faster back to peace, it will not involve punishment. Anything that's going to help you evolve faster back to peace at your natural state will not involve punishment. If some plan involves punishment, that is not the evolutionary plan. That's not the fast-track plan. That is the slow boat back to hell, right? So he wants you to know that that process, the last judgment, has nothing to do with punishment, okay? All right. As a matter of fact, he's saying that in the other section that I pulled out to possibly read tonight, the last judgment is basically God's final word. That's what the last judgment really is. So the last judgment is a process by which you accept God's last word. Okay? So here you are, you've decided what you are and what your limits are, and you've decided what the world is and what reality is, all fearful, of course. And then the last judgment is a process by which you look at what you've made and then you compare it to what God said, what God's final word is. And you let God have the last word, okay? God's last word is God's final judgment. And so this process is a process by which we look at what we made, look at what we're thinking, and when we take it and we compare it to God's last word, and we go, God, what is really the truth about this? What is the truth about this situation? What is your word about this? And we do that with whatever we've made. And as we do that, our own mind is healed. That's really the process of the last judgment.
And ironically, it's not a judgment at all.
Exactly.
It's a healing, but it's interesting that that term is used because of the indoctrination of when you listen to that and how much our society has embellished on it with like movies and whatever, and it's really, it's like it's a God-fearing term, and it's interesting that term is chosen for a healing in itself.
Right. Well, like he says at the beginning, judgment didn't come from God, it's not God's idea, but since we made it up, God's got to use it. So instead of God saying, that idea about judgment was stupid, drop it. God doesn't say that. God goes, all right, so you believe in judgment, you made fine, all right, how about my judgment? How about my judgment? Oh, okay, sure. So see how, that's how the universe does. It doesn't attack what you've made, no matter how unreal it is. It just says, fine, that's the terms I'll use, and then I'll take you right beyond it. I'll use the word you came up with, judgment, and I'm going to show you what real judgment is, right? Okay, so then it says, the last judgment might be called a process of right evaluation. And it simply means that finally all men will come to understand what's worthy and what is not. That's what it is. It's a process by which all men go, oh, yeah, now I get it. This is worthy, that's not. That's all it is. Where we ourselves come to that awareness, where we judge, where everything that we're experiencing, everything we're thinking, we ourselves go, is this worthy of me? Is this worthy of a child of God, or is it not? Is this worthy of me, a child of God, or is it not? And you do that with everything. And when you do that with everything, all your thoughts, all your creations, and once you finally do that, he says, then your ability to choose can be directed reasonably. Oh, I see what's going on. My problem is I don't know what's worthy, and I don't know what's not. And everything that's not worthy of me, a child of God, I have exalted, I value, I cherish. And everything that is worthy of me, I reject, right? All the love that's worthy of me, a child of God, I reject. And all the judgment and the punishment that's not worthy of me, a child of God, I embrace. I call that love. Right? So I'm confused about what's worthy and what's not. I don't know what's worthy of me as a child of God, because I didn't even know I was a child of God. Right? And so it's a process. It's just a process of right evaluation, where you yourself judge. Now everything that happens, you judge it. But in the light of, is this worthy of me or not? And that's the process that we undertake within our own lives and guided by Spirit. So that's what's going on right now. So now this evolutionary speed up time is a phase of our journey where everything that occurs, we judge it in the light of, is this worthy of a child of God? Is this worthy of me as a child of God? And if it's not, because it's not loving and it's not helpful and it's not peaceful and it's not abundant, if it's not, then we judge against it. We say, okay, next. Not worthy, next.
The proper use of denial.
It's a proper use of denial. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. where now we're taking the judgment we're addicted to and we're using it now to judge, is this worthy of me, a child of God, or not? Is this worthy to be pursued? Is this worthy to be believed? Is this worthy of being valued? Is this pain that I'm experiencing, is this fear that I'm experiencing worthy to be valued even more than, say, my workbook lesson? Right? What's worthy in this situation? What's worthy of my focus? Okay? It's a process of right evaluation. Once you have come to understand what's worthy and what's not, then your ability to choose can be directed reasonably. Then you know what to do. He says, until this distinction between what's worthy and not is made, however, the vacillations between free and imprisoned will cannot but continue. Okay? So until I get what's worthy and what's not, and I'm applying that sorting out process and whatever's going on, until I'm complete with that, I'm going to be vacillating between valuing the valueless and suffering, and valuing the valuable and being set free. Okay? When you are suffering, it's because you've been valuing the valueless. Because only the valueless imprisons you. Only the valueless hurts you. And if you're afraid, it only means that you were valuing the valueless. Right? And so eventually we're going to recognize that, the fear, the ego, the hate, the guilt, the lack, that's valueless. That's not even worthy of my precious mental energy and my time. It's not worthy. There's too much to be done. And we've been way too long delayed. I cannot be bothered with that. That is not worthy of my time. That is not worthy of my precious time and my precious energy. And I'm not going to spend my time on that. I'm not going to value that. Well, that's the process that we're in. Okay? This right evaluation. All right?
That seems to be the easy part.
Which part seems to be the easy part?
The right evaluation. What seems to me to take the time is for you to get convinced that you are a child of God,
No
not
doubt.
this picture you made of yourself.
Yep.
That's the
right.
hard part.
Absolutely.
It's-
That's why the idea, I am as God created me, is one of the most repeated ideas in the whole workbook. I am as God created me, I am as God created me. I'm so sick of saying I'm God created me. But it's crucial, because if you don't know who you are, then how can you value rightly? If you think you are a body, and you are your past, and you are your behavior, and you think you are what other people think you are, then of course you're going to value punishment and guilt and fear and things that generally waste time, right? But only as you remember, hey, I am love. I was created by love, and so I am love, and so I deserve only love. Only then can you judge rightly. Is this worth my time? Is this valuable enough for me to waste my energy and my time upon, right? And as you apply that question to everything, is this worth it? Is this worth it? Is this worth it? Is this worth it? The more you apply it to everything, the faster you evolve. The faster you evolve, okay? Because that's the process that speeds up and makes more efficient this speed up, right? Everything that comes up, is that worthy of my focus? Is this worry worthy of the time and energy that I'm about to give it? Is this problem worth my precious time and energy when I could be emerging from my own conflict so that I can help other people emerge from their conflict and help the planet emerge from its conflict? So that's the process we're undertaking, where we apply those questions, that criteria, to everything. Why? So that we stop meandering and wasting time on dead ends that only end up in pain and suffering and a waste of time, right? We want to make our speed, we want to make our journey, our evolution, efficient and speedy. And this is the way to do it. This is the process. As a matter of fact, he says, the first step toward freedom must entail a sorting out of the false from the true. Oh, now he says that's our freedom. Oh, wait, I do want to be free. I do want to be free. I do feel sometimes like a prisoner of my body and time and material limitations. This is the first step to freedom, sorting out, a sorting out process. Isn't that interesting to think of the first step to your liberation, your freedom, is a sorting out process? Where everything that comes up, you're sorting it. Is this valuable? Is it not? Is this true? Is this false? Is this real? Is this not? Is this love or is this fear? Is this an idea from God? Is this my idea? You're sorting, 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 sorting. Right? That's the first step to freedom. Okay, so now let's make this really practical. So I want you to bring to your awareness some conflict that you've been experiencing either today or within the last week. Okay? So in this conflict that you are experiencing, what it's saying here is if you would like to speed up your evolution through it, so that you're not sitting here for years in front of this conflict, you probably already have been sitting in front of this conflict or dealing with it for years, right? If you want to speed up your evolution through it and you want to emerge through this conflict, the first thing you want to do tonight is do a little sorting out. And sort. What of this is worth my time and energy? What is not? What in this situation is true? What's false? What's the loving part of this situation? What's the fear in this situation? Sort. And the faster you can get to the sorting out of that within this situation, the faster you evolve through it, the faster you emerge out of it. Isn't that interesting? So it's just needing my right evaluation, my willingness to sort out the false from the true and the love from the fear and the worthy from the not in this situation. In this situation, what is it that I'm worrying about that may not be worth my time? Especially when I could be putting my time and energy into hearing a more positive, loving idea about it. And then it says that this is a process of division only in the constructive sense and reflects the true meaning of the apocalypse. That's interesting. The true meaning of I guess, I don't know much about the Bible, but I guess the apocalypse is a metaphor for like a sorting out, where, where the bad seeds are discarded, and the, 144,000, they're, lifted onto high. Is that right?
The end of the world.
It's the end of the world.
Or the last judgment.
Okay, okay.
As we know it.
Okay, so the apocalypse in the Bible is also associated with the last judgment.
The end of the world, yeah.
Okay.
As we know it.
As we know it, okay. And isn't it like supposedly where God decides who's worthy of him and who's not, and the ones who are, he takes unto him, and who's not, he casts them into the flames of hell?
Forever.
Forever, right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
for all eternity.
Wow.
That's coming
But
up.
God is love,
No, but
children.
like, look at it. You could have lived maybe, let's say 100 years on the planet, but whatever you did in those 100 years deserves an eternity of damnation, not just 100 more years of damnation.
Wow.
Forever. That's serious.
Right. But God is love, children.
Yeah, he loves us.
Yeah, but God loves you. God is love. That's the meanest thing you could imagine. Wow. So we got it all wrong. And like you said, punishment has nothing to do with God. Punishment is an idea that man made up. Right? You can tell. It has all the hallmarks of man's ideas. Right? So this is the true meaning of the apocalypse. What is? This sorting out. You sorting out. You sorting out between what you've made, you sorting out, here's what I've made, here's what I believe. Now I'm going to sort through it to decide what of what I made or believed is really worthy of my energy and my belief from this point forward. In other words, from this point forward, I'm going to be efficient. I'm not going to be wasting my time on dead ends. I am not going to be wasting my time on dead ends anymore. I want to be efficient. I want to speed it up for me. Because I don't want to draw this out any longer, right? So from this point forward, I'm going to do the sorting out process between what I've made, what I believe, to see what's value of my time and energy, and what's not. I'm just going to forgive, and then I'm going to put my energy into what's valuable so that I can speed up my emergence from this conflict. Okay?
Did it say in your evaluation with your right mind?
It says right. It says the last judgment is a process of right evaluation, where I'm evaluating rightly, finally.
So in other words, this is to each question, instead of just deciding myself, I should say, Spirit, how do you see this?
Exactly.
Because you know what I'll pick. If I'm doing the sorting,
Exactly.
I'll just stay where I'm at.
Yeah, I will not evaluate rightly. The ego will say, be afraid, be angry, feel guilty, attack, defend, be greedy. And I go, yeah, that's a great plan. I haven't been evaluating rightly. I've been evaluating wrongly. And when Spirit within me goes, forgive, nothing's going on, nothing's happened, you're still whole, you're still as God created you, I go, right. That's an incorrect evaluation, right? And because I haven't been evaluating rightly, I've been going down dead end after dead end after dead end after dead end and ending up in despair and realizing I wasted a lot of time only to get to I'm in despair, right? And he's saying, stop wasting your time. You know, time isn't real, but since you made time and you believe in it, why waste it going nowhere? And the only way to stop wasting time going nowhere is to evaluate the directional options. And to go, let's see, I'm a choice here. I can either go down the rabbit hole of fear and anger and guilt, or I can go down the path of light, right? And you can tell the difference between the two choices, okay? One choice always involves punishment or payment, okay? As we're looking at how to evaluate what to spend our time and energy on, one will always be, I have to sacrifice something to get something, I have to pay. And the other one is, you do not have to pay, it is yours by your birthright. All you have to do is accept it. That's how you can tell the difference between the two paths, okay? The two different choices.
I find that, because another way of saying this sorting out is also removing the blocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I find that a lot of us, myself included, we think removing the blocks involves doing more, but it's actually harder to do less.
Exactly.
And that's the thing, you know, because whatever we do under our own direction is going to make things worse.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, I like that. I like that image. So like here we have a block on our path and we think that the way to overcome it is to chisel it and try to push it and, you know, get a rope around and pull it. And he's saying, no, it's just evaluating correctly and going the other way. Oh, block. Oh, look, it's not happening here. Look, there's conflict here. It's not happening smoothly. It's not flowing. Oh, I should make it work. He's like, no, actually, all you're supposed to do is evaluate it correctly and then just go the other way. You know, that's the process.
Isn't that kind of like avoiding your problems? That's what it sounds like. Instead of facing your problems, you're avoiding them.
Well, no, because you have to acknowledge it's there first. And according to this, all you're supposed to do is go worthy or not. Okay, this is not worthy. because it hurts me and it's making me afraid and it's telling me I should be angry and guilty and attack. And all you're being asked to do is choose otherwise. All you're supposed to do is evaluate it rightly. That's it. I don't have to fight against it. I don't have to figure it out. I don't have to analyze it. I just have to evaluate it rightly. This isn't worthy. Okay, what is worthy? Oh, something that's going to remind me that I am entitled to miracles. That's worthy. I'm going to go there. Okay? So then it says, man will ultimately look upon their own creations and will to preserve only what is good, just as God himself looked upon what he had created and knew that it was good. So at some point, eventually, every one of us is going to look on what we've created and only keep what is loving. Only keep what's loving. And we're going to let go of the rest. Damn, I didn't know it was that simple. I could have done that so long ago. I did not realize that that's just what it was. Look upon what I've made, look upon what I've created, and only preserve the loving. Only preserve the good. And then let go of the rest, which means forgive the rest. Eventually, every one of us will do that. Wow. Why not tonight? Any good reasons why not tonight? Anybody?
Too easy.
Oh, thank you. That's the one and only one. That's exactly right. It's the one and only one. That's right. I got some guilt plans for later tonight. That's why. I got some things going on tonight that I know I'm worthy, but I want to do them. That's why. All right, so eventually we all will do exactly what God did, and we will look upon our creations and go, good. Instead of looking upon all our creations and going, not enough. That's not enough, that's not enough, and that's not good enough, and that's not good enough. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with this, and there's something wrong with that. Right? That's what we're doing right now. That's the way we use judgment right now. We're looking out upon our creations, and we're not calling it good. We're going, not enough. Not enough, right? But eventually we're all going to go, it's all good. I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for everyone. I'm grateful for every situation I was ever in. I'm grateful for everything that seemed to happen. I'm grateful for it all. It's all good. It's all good. You know, it's all good. This is like this spiritual, cosmic version of it's all good. Right? So someday, and we could do it tonight. We could just go, oh, all good. Because it's all been helpful. It's all been helpful. I have learned from every bit of it, and every one of them. It's all good, every situation.
Like the grateful in and grateful out, meaning grateful out is when something great happens to you, G-R-E-A-T, and therefore it's easy to be grateful for that.
That's right.
For some. And some just think it's, that's what their entitlement is. And then there's the grateful in part that's really where the work is really done. That creates the experience to be grateful out, where you're grateful when something very challenging is at your door and it's very hard for you to get through, and it's basically grateful in is faith, but you're grateful that you have this experience because you have the faith to know that it's going to heal.
Exactly. And at some level it's helpful.
Right.
Exactly.
And at that point you're grateful out.
That's right. So it's like on one level we're looking into the situation in which we're experiencing conflict and pain and fear, and we got to do some sorting out. We got to do some sorting out. And then at the same time, we're also being asked to look at it from like a meta level and go, it's all good. Maybe what I've been valuing is the valueless, but you know what? It's okay. It was useful. It was useful to getting me to this point, right? So It's this right evaluation, this sorting out process, like an inventory, you know, like in AA, where, you know, part of the healing process, or a crucial element of a healing process, or becoming free from an addiction, right? And the same is true for for us. We are addicted to fear. We are. We are addicted to fear more than we've ever been addicted to any substance, that's for sure. And in the process of becoming free of this addiction, this thing that you feel imprisoned by, that you feel like you have to do even though it hurts you, the process, like within AA, entails an inventory, where you got to go in and look. You go, okay, you know, where was the fear? Where was the love? Where was the guilt? Where was the attack? And as you do that inventory, this takes it a step further and goes, and then you do a process of evaluation where you sort out. And you go, all right, here's the loving thoughts in this situation. Here's the good. And here's the fear and the anger and the guilt in this situation. And that needs to go to God. Here you go, God. Take it. Thank you. Right? And that's where you heal and emerge from that prison, that addiction to pain in that form. Isn't that interesting? All right. It's interesting to hear the Course's idea of freedom in this section. It's like, this is how to be free. This is how to be free. Right? Okay, then it says, when you have looked upon your creations and know that they are good, at this point, the will, which is the mind, can begin to look with love on its own creations because of their great worthiness. And when that happens, your mind will inevitably disown its miscreations, which without the mind's belief will no longer exist. Wow, so that's the process. Once I've sorted out, and then I look upon it and I call it good, then my mind will just inevitably disown its own miscreations, its own fears, which without my mind's belief will just do what? They will no longer exist. Wow, I love that. Without my mind's belief, my problems will no longer exist. Isn't that deep? Think about that. Without my mind's belief in this problem, wow, this problem will no longer exist.
So you stop valuing it.
That's right. Thank you. And belief in this problem is my valuing of it. Thank you. Exactly.
Say that again.
Okay. Without my mind's belief in this problem, which name said valuing it, it will no longer exist. So as I stop valuing it, this problem, this conflict, this anger, this guilt, this sickness, as I stop valuing it and I start valuing something else, this problem will no longer exist. Phew! It sure doesn't seem like my problems are only there, exist because of my mind's belief. My problems are real. Right? That's the way they seem.
That's undermining the power of your mind.
That's exactly right.
You're a victim now.
That's exactly right. So if that's true, then the only thing I am a prisoner of is my own false valuing. I value being imprisoned. I value feeling limited. You know why? Because I get to be a victim and attack innocently. That's why I love this problem. I value it. I value feeling limited and downtrodden and used and betrayed and abandoned. I love it. I value it because it enables me to attack, which my ego only wants to do, but feel innocent about it because I'm just a victim, right? And so without me valuing that, if I stop valuing that, then it just goes away and I'm no longer its victim. I'm no longer imprisoned by it. But then there's no more anger or guilt, which the ego is addicted to. Wow. Okay. So for a moment, I want you to bring to your awareness that conflict situation that you brought to your mind a few minutes ago. And bring it to your awareness and just take note of how that conflict feels. Notice how it feels restrictive. It seems to be holding you down, holding you back. And then I want you to tell yourself the truth about it. Tell yourself, without my belief, this will no longer exist. This is here because I'm believing in it. And this is happening because I'm valuing it. And then ask the spirit within, what would be more valuable to put my belief into? What would be a more valuable belief at this time? Loving right mind. Beautiful. All right. Very nice. Got to stop every once in a while and just do what it said. All right? I know it's a radical concept. Okay. All right. Let me see where we're doing on timing. I'm just going to finish this paragraph and then we will do our love offering and our integration meditation. Okay, so it says, the term last judgment is frightening, not because it has been falsely projected the term last judgment is frightening not only because it has been falsely projected onto God, but also because of the association of last with death. So we have the last judgment means death. And you say, that's a misperception. He says that's an upside down perception. And this is an outstanding example of upside down perception. Actually, if the meaning of the last judgment is objectively examined, it's quite apparent that the last judgment is really the doorway to life. Wow. Interesting. So it's not a final meting out of punishment or death. It's something that once you allow that final judgment to be made, and once you make that final judgment upon what's worthy, upon your creations, and you make that final judgment, what judgment? You make that final evaluation of what's worthy and what's not, what's false and what's true, and you finally make that final evaluation amongst the things you've made that actually is the doorway to life. Wow. That sounds like a door I'd like to walk through. So instead of the doorway to death where God judges you, you're actually doing the judgment yourself. You're evaluating yourself once and for all. And you go, and once and for all, meaning final, meaning once and for all, I judge it as good. That's the last judgment. It's the last judgment that you ever have to make. And when you finally make that last judgment and you have judged correctly, then you walk through the door of life. Meaning you walk beyond judgment and punishment forever. Wow.
Could that also be taken as like the final judgment of myself is the last judgment I make of myself, so therefore I am free.
Exactly, but that final judgment isn't one that you make on yourself. It's the judgment of God upon you that you finally accept and apply to everything. Okay? So you didn't make yourself. You didn't create yourself. So your final judgment on yourself can't be up to you. It's got to be on the one who made you. Okay? So the final judgment is where you accept God's last word on you, which is you're holy, you are innocent, you are free, and you are eternal. That's God's last judgment on you. And you accept God's last judgment on you, and then you apply that last judgment. And you let that be your last judgment on everything you made. Right?
And that's already happened.
Yes.
That last judgment's already happened.
That's right.
And it's just a matter of our acceptance.
God has already made the last judgment. In other words, God's already had the last word. You know, guess who gets to have the last word here? It's God, not us, because He's the creator, right?
Well, in a way, you're not making a judgment of yourself anymore, because that's what you've been doing, and
That's
you've
right.
turned it over to God.
Exactly.
And so it's the final judgment you make on yourself, too.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's when you accept.
Right.
You know, I accept once and for all that I am what God says I am.
Because my self-judgment
Right.
keeps me in my pain.
Exactly. So it's not necessarily that I'm making a final judgment on myself. It's I'm judging what my creations. You know, I'm judging what I have been valuing. And I kind of do, okay, let's see, what have I been valuing? Let's see, okay. How's that been working out for me? All right, okay, I'm going to do a little sorting out here. That's the last judgment I'm doing. And then also, the last judgment is where I accept God's final word for what I am. Right? And if God said I'm eternal, fine, I'm eternal. I get it. I accept it. That's the last judgment. God says I'm sinless. Okay. God's got the last word. And I accept God's final word on who I am and what I am. I accept that. And now I'm going to apply that to everything that I made.
Because that judgment's already been made, I mean, basically all we're doing right now is muttering and groaning and bitching.
That's right.
You know, I'm eventually going to have to come to the acceptance of this, and I don't want to.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And we're supposed to be speeding up and doing it sooner than we ordinarily would have so we can help others.
That's right. Yes, exactly. And we're supposed to be doing all of this in a more speeded up version so that we can help others to do it faster too for the planet. Wow. So this is the process. This is the process that is underfoot. The process that's afoot, you know, and that we are being asked to do faster. Because the planet needs us to speed it up a bit. You know, the planet's like, come on already. Come on already. I got all day. Right? And it doesn't, you know. And so we're being asked to speed up our determination and our willingness to do this evaluation process, this sorting out process through all that we've made in our lives right now. And go ahead and look at it all and go, okay, what is now from this point forward worthy of my effort and my time and my belief that's going to do the most good for the most people at this time. And whatever is not going to help me do the most good for the most people at the most time, that's just, it's not bad, it's just not worthy of my time right now. It's not bad. It's not like you're judging it, it's bad. You're just saying, no, not bad, just I can't do that right now. I have to evaluate. So, you know, when you're busy and you've got a lot to do and you only have in a short time, you got to work efficiently. You got to be able to go, this is worth my time, this isn't, this isn't. You got to be able to do that to speed up what you're doing and to do what you're doing more efficiently. And that's all we're being asked to do, right? For the process of the Great Awakening, the healing of the world. All right? All right. Okay, you guys, so now we're going to do our love offering. Thank you for your expressions of financial appreciation. Thank you for them. And you can find all of my classes on YouTube for free. So just know that. And if you would like to learn more about my holistic counseling practice, where I facilitate Miracle Psychotherapeutic Sessions, where we apply these ideas very specifically and practically to any situation that you need a miracle in. If you want to learn more about those sessions, you can go to my website, annakujawa.com. And also, I've started a new video series that I'm posting on YouTube. I have started a new series called Lullaby Course, okay? And I'm sure some of you are like, well, there's already a lullaby for me. It's already the perfect insomnia remedy. But in this, all I'm doing is I'm just reading the book. I'm just reading the book to music, and I've made it so that people can be spoon-fed the course. And they can use it as a sleep aid, or they can use it as a meditation aid. But all I'm doing is just reading the course to music so that you can close your eyes and just take it in, let it wash over you.
That's on YouTube?
It's on YouTube now. It's called Lullaby Course.
Lullaby Course.
Right. And it's for some people have trouble reading the book. I know that's hard to believe. But some people find it difficult. And so this is my gift to you guys of just spoon feeding it to you as like a mother who's, who's chewed up the food, put it in a little spoon, and then just, where you can just take it in. It's very easy to hear what it's saying because it's being read by somebody who knows what it's saying and who's been reading it a long time. So I want you to know those are on YouTube now.
Do you do it verbatim or do you kind of stop and explain?
I don't do any explaining. It's just pure course. It's just pure reading.
How many chapters did you do?
What do you say?
How many chapters?
I've done 2 videos so far, and I'm not even out of the first chapter. So this could take a few millennia, lifetimes. Yeah, I'm hoping Aria will pick it up for me after I'm long gone. But anyway, it's a great way to take in the course in a real easy way. It definitely helps you to sleep. I have a friend who has insomnia. I was like, hey, go check out that video. It'll help. And she goes, it did. It did. It put me right to sleep. I said, I knew it would. So just know that those are there on YouTube for your healing enjoyment. It's also a good prayer and meditation aid. Because if you read the course, if you just either listen to the course or if you just read it without the ego trying to figure it out or analyze it or defend against it, it literally, in my experience, affects your brain waves. Literally. To the point where because it has a certain frequency that it vibrates on and that it flows in. And if you just listen to it like that, it literally does something to your brain waves, and you experience what might feel to you like an altered state, because this thing came from an altered state. It came from a mind that was vibrating on a higher frequency than what we normally associate with the human mind. And so it's really magical like that. You don't have to understand it or know what it's saying. You just let it in like this, and it goes in and it does something. It's very powerful and magical like that. Okay? So now we're going to do integration meditation for a few minutes. And the purpose here is just to allow the ideas that we heard to just percolate down a little bit from the conscious mind, down a little deeper, and also to apply what we heard. So I want you to just close your eyes and take a breath. And I want you to just tune into how you feel right now. How does it feel to have heard these ideas tonight? And how does it feel to have heard these ideas tonight in the company of others? Beautiful. Now I want you to bring back to your awareness either that one situation, that conflict situation that you brought up earlier, or another one that needs some right evaluation. work in it. And I want you to take note of how this conflict has felt, how it's looked. I want you to take note of what you've been focusing on in that situation. And then I want you to ask yourself about this conflict situation. Of all that was happening inside this, within this situation, what is most worthy of my focusing on? In this situation, what is worthy of my focus? I want you to ask yourself, the way that I have been seeing this situation and valuing this situation and reacting to this situation, is that worthy of an innocent child of God? And I want you to ask yourself, is this situation, is this problem worthy of a child of God who deserves only love, who deserves only mercy? And whatever aspect of that situation, or the situation itself, that you judge to be not worthy of your precious time and energy, go ahead and thank it and release it. Thank you, and I release you back to the light. And I want you to ask yourself, what other situations and problems and conflicts recently have I been hurting myself with that really aren't worthy of a child of God? In what ways have you been demeaning your value with various situations and issues? And where in your life right now have you been valuing the valueless and suffering because of it? In this painful situation that I've been experiencing, how is it that I have been valuing the valueless? In this painful situation, what's the unworthy that I've been valuing? Was it I was valuing being right? Maybe you were valuing winning. Maybe you were valuing getting instead of giving. In this situation, in this painful situation, the valueless that I have been valuing is Now, what I would prefer to value instead, as a child of God who deserves only mercy, is what I now prefer to place my investment in relative to this situation is and what is valuable, I place my value in. Go ahead and identify the real value that you now would prefer to place your will into. What is it you want to value now? And I want you to tell yourself, it is crucial that I free myself from this conflict sooner than later. Because I need to help others emerge from their fear soon. It is important that I emerge from this fear, this conflict, quickly. Tell yourself that. It's essential and important that I emerge from this fear, this conflict, quickly. Because the world needs me to. My freedom is needed. And tell yourself that. That's a true value. I value my freedom from this conflict and from my fear because my freedom is needed by the world. So don't be afraid to look upon your problems and judge them with a new criteria. That what is fearful in them may disappear. And then just take another breath. Whew, and just notice the feeling of using these ideas. How does that feel? Beautiful. And then bring your awareness back to the room, knowing that you did good tonight. Hey, what'd you do last night? I did some good.
Thank you.
I did some good for the planet. Give it up for yourselves. Give yourselves a hand. Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. See you next time I see you. Is that what? Yeah, it is. I really appreciated you telling me that. Yes, I did. And I was like, I really appreciated it until I said, thank you. I just found that, thank you so much. Your perception means a lot to me, so I was thrilled to get your response. I was like, okay, that's it. Right, exactly. Exactly.
See you again.
That's right.
Always my pleasure.
Yeah, see you. Oh, thank you. Right on, thank you.
It's nice to see you. Yeah.
Thanks for coming, man.
Oh, man, that was serious.
Yeah, you're the one with the ladder. You have the ladder, right?
Nice to meet you.